The story of Bungie begins deep in the Swedish countryside, in the tiny fishing village of Askersund, where the farmers would gather each...
Askersund? I'll put my boot in your Askersund. Now listen up. Bungie starts here. Sweet Home Chicago, 1991.
That year I was taking an artificial intelligence class, and Jason was in that class.
I was working on a game, and Alex was trying to start a company.
Where Jason is actually a lot like a shipboard AI, where most of the time it does miraculous work that nobody else could do, and then the other times it's, you know, crazy.
This is what I think of the Computer Game Developers Conference.
You know, we just got to talking and thought maybe we should try partnering up.
And I finished that first game for the company that became Bungie.
Two guys come up with a manifesto. 7 steps to world domination.
They were handed down from on high. They came from Providence.
7 steps to world domination.
Because that's the best number. It's like rock. Nothing beats rock or 7.
7 steps? I've only been here 6 years. They don't trust you overnight.
If I could just run more than 7 steps, I think we'll start there, and then we'll see where we go.
Yeah, start independent gaming company. Is there an addendum that says remain independent? Because we should have put that in there.
Bungie Studios started properly in 1991.
We tried it out, and it worked really good. We just kept going.
Every time you eat a piece of pizza, you have to cross something off. Right?
But it was kind of like, you know, being in a band, because it was our lives, you know, 24/7.
We didn't have any idea what we were really doing.
I think Tunster needs to get the shaft.
There are a variety of ways one can get the shaft. Getting rid of the shaft, that's a trickier proposition.
Every 2 weeks, someone's gonna get the shaft. So, Harold, you are the proud owner of the shaft for the next 2 weeks.
Well, the name Bungie is actually a very dirty, dirty joke. Well, it's a punchline of a very dirty joke, which I'm afraid I can't reveal.
You know, I can't talk about why the company's called Bungie.
That's top secret stuff.
The original Bungie offices, which you can see across the street, brown brick building there, we occupied the 2nd floor. It had character. This is where we would eat our burritos, probably 4 out of 5 days of the week. This building used to be the bug stop. It was like open 24 hours or something.
And there was that crack house behind the building.
Some guys come running up to the car side door, and we're like, what the hell's going on here? And he holds up this trash bag, and he's like, come on, buy some porn, buy some porn. And we're like, no thanks. That was sort of the ambiance of the neighborhood in the old place. It was awesome.
So let's just say that step 2 is immensely destructive.
Bungie grew up making games for the Mac.
Hello. I think I had pretty modest ambitions at the time, and didn't come close to achieving them the first time out of the gate, or the second time. But we stuck with it.
And we ended up with Pathways.
I had some friends that used to play Pathways in the darkness all the time.
Which was our first, I would say, successful game, you know, that made a profit, and we were able to start hiring some people to help us out.
First Bungie game I ever heard of was Marathon.
Let's just say that it's a grand galactic space opera with mystical overtones.
That was the first-person shooter on the Macintosh, where you could connect with other friends and actually play head-to-head.
Whoa, you guys!
So how close is Marathon at this point?
Well, we ship by August Macworld 97. We'll all be really happy.
Yeah, Marathon was our breakout project, really. A lot of people really liked the game.
Marathon made me dizzy.
I think at that time, honestly, Mac owners would have been excited by Space Invaders in a tube.
One of the first games I ever played where I really got a sense of a community around an actual game was Myth.
We developed it for the Mac and the PC at the same time.
Myth is a real-time strategy.
But it's much more like an arcade game.
You use the terrain to your advantage, which isn't something that a whole lot of games did at the time.
It was all about the quick combat and micromanagement of troops. It was a lot of fun.
The ability to play multiplayer against strangers and friends has been a foundation for other things that we've gone on to do really well.
The game Phoenix was what we worked on after Myth 2. It was called Phoenix because that's what kind of rose out of the ashes of the Myth 2 project.
It was still in that same sort of medieval kind of magical time frame.
We worked on a number of different giant medieval style weapons like big catapults and trebuchets.
Lots of magic, lots of swordplay.
You went around as a big minotaur with an axe and beat the crap out of skeletons. There were a bunch of very fun components to it, But Phoenix never really caught fire. You would play with it and you would go, well, this is like maybe 5 minutes of fun, and after that it's just not fun anymore. So you would scrap that and then you would just move on to the next thing.
Without further ado, let me go back to Peter, who has managed to rustle up a fan who I hear has a pretty stupid trick for us.
We got into the world of television with Bungie TV largely thanks to the ego and ability of Joseph Staten.
Oh, he's got a leg in. He's down. He's in.
Oh!
He's in. Jeff is in the can.
That was back in the day before the internet's tubes were big enough to shove all the things through.
So, we've been putting together a tour of the ONI facilities.
Here we have the Bungie West parking lot, the central portion of the Bungie offices.
This looks like a paperwork disaster.
The entertainment area, which is a little messy.
The West Coast office of Bungie started with ONI, which was a third-person shooter.
We called it full contact action.
The Matrix had just come out, and that was really sort of a big influence on the animation.
The main character for Oni is Kanoko. She's strong but vulnerable. Just something to pique that sense of chivalry that is like really undeveloped in the hearts of young men.
Step 3, you cut a hole in a box. Some people think that's step 1, but to me it's step 3.
Yeah, nothing says killer, hardcore, rough and tumble like Halo.
Paul Russell is the father of Halo.
I came up with the name Halo, and it was not received well. Jason was leaning more towards Redshift. Covenant was one of them. I thought it sounded like a bad 80s hair band. You know, Covenant.
Halo is an epic journey to save humanity from terrible menace. That's all it is. That's good. They should put that on the box.
It was going to be really important to Microsoft to have games for the Xbox. That's what was going to make or break it. We got very excited about the opportunity to be a launch game on a platform.
I remember seeing just a single texture on a wall with a flashlight going, wow, this is going to be awesome. And it was way before the Xbox even looked like the Xbox and way before Halo even looked like Halo.
That's the first version of the Warthog, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Man, this isn't Halo, dude. Man, this is really, really old.
We had a huge map for a continuous RPG game, and for that we had an RTS.
And then next thing you know, it was a third person, and we were playing it in our office.
People probably want to know why we switched from third person to first person.
Jason again.
Yeah, it's all this damn Jason, man.
That's what happens when your lead is a crack addict.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, Halo depended on a lot of that early wandering.
And we never really knew how people were going to receive it. Like 6 months before we shipped, we went to E3 with a build of the game, and nobody liked it. You know, people played it, and they're like, frame rate's not so good. Well, what's all this hype, Halo?
Good luck, Master Chief.
Evolving over a long period of time, Halo's turned into something much bigger than a video game.
Because we're creating a world. You can open, history books and whatnot to read about Halo. This is a world that's been created.
And this progress attracted the attention of someone who, in many respects, was all that we aspired to be. Did we let this attention go to our heads? No, we did not. And little did we know it, but Bungie was on the auction block, and we all of us soon found ourselves strangers in a strange land.
When Microsoft bought us, some people were totally incensed because they grew up from the Mac side of things and felt like, this was a sellout.
Greed, pure and simple, cashed it in, sold our souls.
A lot of the team was pretty young and didn't have a lot of attachments, so the opportunity to go somewhere new was pretty exciting. I think for some of us, myself included, with family in Chicago, it was maybe a little bit more bittersweet.
We got on a plane, we came out here, and we really looked back,
We were expecting a final sales number to be 700,000 units, and then it just went through the roof.
Why? Because of my pretty face.